Hey everyone, happy Monday. This is Nishana with your Monday motivation. Micah 7 verse 7 says, "But as for me, I will look to the Lord. I will wait for the God of my salvation. My God will hear me." The time came when Joseph and all his brothers had died, and their descendants multiplied so greatly that they became extremely powerful and filled Egypt. Eventually, a new king came into power that knew nothing about Joseph or what he had done. He said to his people, "Look, the people of Israel now outnumber us and are stronger than we are. In case of war, they might join our enemies in order to fight against us, and might escape from the country. We must find some way to keep them from becoming even more numerous." So, the Egyptians made the Israelites their slaves and appointed slave drivers to crush their spirits with hard labor. But the more the Egyptians oppressed the Israelites, the more they increased in number and the farther they spread through the land. Seeing that the Egyptians had come to fear the Israelites, the king went to speak with Shiphrah and Puah, the two midwives who helped the Hebrew women. "When you help the Hebrew woman give birth," he said, "kill the baby if it's a boy, but if it's a girl, let it live." But the midwives were God-fearing and did not obey the king. When the king found out, he went back to question the midwives. "The Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women," they answered. "They give birth easily, and their babies are born before either of us get there." The Israelites continued to increase in size and strength until the Pharaoh issued a command to all his people. "Take every newborn Hebrew boy and throw him into the Nile River, but let all the girls live." About this time, a man and woman from the tribe of Levi got married. The woman became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw how beautiful he was, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could no longer hide him, she took a basket made of bulrushes and covered it with tar and pitch to make it waterproof. She put the baby in it and then placed the basket along the reeds of the bank of the Nile River. The baby's sister stood at the distance watching to see what would happen to him. Soon, the Pharaoh's daughter came down to the river to bathe. While her servants walked along the bank, she noticed the basket in the tall grass and sent a maid to get it. When she opened it and saw the baby boy, he was crying and she felt sorry for him. "This is one of the Hebrew babies," she said. Seeing what was happening, the baby's sister emerged from her hiding spot and approached the Pharaoh's daughter. "Shall I go and call a Hebrew woman to nurse the baby for you?" she said. "Please do," the Pharaoh's daughter answered. So the girl went and brought her mother. "Take this baby and nurse him for me. I will give you wages," Pharaoh's daughter said to the Hebrew woman. So the woman took the baby and nursed him. Later, when the child was old enough, she took him to the king's daughter, who adopted him as her own son. She named him Moses because she drew him out of the water. Many years later, when Moses had grown up, he went out to visit his own people and saw how they were forced to do hard labor. He even saw an Egyptian kill a Hebrew. So after looking around to ensure that no one was looking, he killed the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. The next day, he went back and saw 2 Hebrew men fighting. "Why are you beating up your friend?" Moses said to the man who had started the fight. "Who made you our ruler and judge?" the man answered. "Are you going to kill me just as you killed that Egyptian yesterday?" Suddenly, Moses was overcome with fear, and he said to himself, "People have found out what I've done." And sure enough, when the Pharaoh heard what had happened, he tried to have Moses killed. But Moses fled and went to live in the land of Midian. When Moses arrived in Midian, he sat down beside a well. Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters who came, as was their custom, to draw water and fill the troughs for their father's flocks. But some other shepherds drove Jethro's daughters away. Moses jumped up and rescued the girls from the shepherds and drew water for their flocks. When they returned to their father, he asked, "Why have you come back so early today?" "An Egyptian rescued us from the shepherd," they answered, "and he even drew water for us and watered our animals." "Then where is he?" their father asked. "Why did you just leave him out there? Invite him to come and eat with us." So Moses accepted the invitation and decided to live there with him. In time, Jethro gave him his daughter Zipporah as a wife, and she gave birth to a son. Years passed, and the king of Egypt died, but the Israelites continued to groan under their burden of slavery. They cried out for help, and their cry rose up to God. God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant of promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He looked down on the people of Israel and knew that it was time to act. Never overlook God's time frame. Hundreds of years had passed since God's original promise to Abraham, but God did not forget his promise to Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob. God's timing is never flawed. It may seem like God has forsaken you, but his timing is perfect, and a great rescue will be launched to secure God's promises and covenant over your life. The truth is that we cannot begin to fully understand the grace or providence of God. The story of Moses' humble but tumultuous beginning is a testament of the grace and providence of God. Consider all the "but God" moments in this story. The Pharaoh decreed that the midwives kill the Hebrew baby boys, but God blocked it and saved their lives. The Pharaoh again decreed that every baby boy should be cast into the Nile, but God blocked it and gave Moses' mother profound wisdom and mustard seed faith. Pharaoh's daughter found an unwanted baby, condemned to death, but God blocked it and returned the child to a nurturing home. Consider that God's purpose is being worked out in ways that you would never expect, through people that you would never even dream of. So understand that God has not forsaken you. Instead, recognize that the current breath in your body is proof that your life has been orchestrated through but God moments. Every detail of your life, every incident, every failure has been employed providentially by God to further his plan for your life. God, help us to be patient as we wait for your plan to unfold. May the graciousness that you extended towards Moses be extended to us as we strive to be faithful to you. Amen. This was Nishana with your Monday Motivation. See you next week. Bye.